And with me today, I have Honorable Member of Parliament, that is Bukoto Central, Honorable Sebamala Richard, with whom we are going to be discussing an issue aimed at protecting Ugandans against the regular killings we've been seeing. We thank the police for the good work done, and that is installing car and motorcycle trackers. We must remember it was during the budget speech His Excellency talked about it and said, I've directed the new minister, that is for security, that is the General David Muhoozi, taking up, that is for internal affairs, taking up that docket to ensure that we have this process. Why is it slowing? Give us an update and let's see it be done. But also remember, it was in 2018, still when he was addressing Parliament, and the President echoed a couple of measures, among which was to have these gadgets installed in our cars, in our motorcycles, so that they can track criminals in case this happens. Now, a section has welcomed this with open arms. Some are saying, let's first have proper policies. This may infringe on our rights. This may not perform the purpose it is meant to be. Honorable.
Yes.
And you happen to be among those that are saying that no, there are some issues we must iron out. Yet Ugandans are craving to ensure that we have all gaps closed, so that criminals find it very hard to commit such crimes in our country. But first, let me welcome you to our studios and congratulate you upon it wasn't an easy thing in Bukoto. We remember.
Thank you very much. It's been an honor to be part of you this morning. I applaud UBC for the good work it has done and the tremendous, highlight it has, improved a lot. Thank you, the people that, have made it be what it is today. I'm Sebamala Richard, Member of Parliament, Bukoto Central. And I want to first tell my people, COVID is real. It's been a few months, but we have lost a lot of people, a lot of important people. We've also lost very many that wouldn't qualify to be that important, but are really, really, really vital to this nation. So COVID is real. Take care of yourself. Observe the SOPs. That is it. So, as pertaining the topic today of vehicle tracking, as Richard, I want you to take yourself as an individual that the president comes up with a particular security measure, which is very okay. We understand the concern of the people that have been hit here and there. We understand this concern. We have seen different measures being taken, and productivity of the results of the reports have come out, and we have seen the cameras that did a tremendous work in order to apprehend the people that had.
Maybe first, if it's okay with you, due to social distancing, maybe you can excuse yourself of the mask to be more audible to our viewers.
So we accept that the president has come up with different measures. One of the measures was the one of the cameras that has helped us apprehend the culprits that hit General Katumba Wamala and all that. However, we also accept that everyone has the right to privacy. Everyone has the right to privacy. And even if it is UBC, you're supposed, after the president announcing that you're going to have, we should come up with a vehicle tracking unit, you're supposed to come up with a company policy of how you're going to incorporate the vehicle tracking into your day-to-day work. Are you going to be tracked from 8 to 5, and after 5 you have your private work? You understand? Because if you're going into your private work, there should be proper legal framework that should govern the privacy. Are you tracking vehicles? Are you tracking individuals? Because according to the security system, the push will be on the individual, because they want to get the individual. But it's not necessarily a fact that if you have the vehicle, you have the individual. So there is a lot of legal framework that is supposed to come up with, that we're supposed to come up with for us to implement this particular policy or particular directive. So the Minister Jim Muhoozi recently got up in fires on Tuesday last week, and said we are going to start. They have already gotten a company to to do this, and global is it LC and all those things from Russia. And but how is our information protected? How did you get this company? who authenticated it.
Maybe, Honorable, let's not have a basket full of so many things. Let's first get to understand one at a time for our viewer to really find if there's anything worth to take home. Let's begin with what is your biggest fear? Because the moment, shortly after the address, I saw Patrick Oboy Amriat, FDC president, saying, now this is aimed at tracking us politicians.
Part of it. Part of it could be, but that is in the law. It's far-fetched. That is far-fetched.
So, what are the fears? Let's try to be more specific as we are digesting this.
Technically, everyone is supposed to have a right to their privacy. And when we are talking about privacy, nobody is supposed to know where you're going at any one time. It is your right to move wherever you want to move at any particular time. Do whatever you want to do. What you want to do is different. But now we are talking about movement. You're supposed to move anywhere. It is your right. You can even get out of your house and walk, stroll on the street and then come back home. It is a right. You have a right to move. You understand? Leave alone this restriction that they have put for COVID and all those things. But you have a right to what? To move. Now, here you are coming up with a directive where you want to track where I am. Now, privacy entails very many things. It's not necessarily the fact that you're going to track me when I'm going to do only bad things. But when I'm going to go to do my business beyond Parliament, I'll be in my business, I'll be in my constituency, I'll go and visit a friend. There are very many things that you can do. There are very many reasons that you can move with. Now, how do I trust you with that information? How do I trust government with that information? Not necessarily the opposition politicians, us, the Democratic Party. No. It is to everyone. How would you trust your private information to government? How have you vetted that company? Are we sure that this company is going to be independent of any other? What if it is hacked and then my private information is moved on to somebody else? What assurance are you giving me? This is what we are saying. We are saying the tracking is not bad. It is okay, you can track. But you're supposed to track when I know. First and foremost, you're supposed to tell me. We are supposed to sign an understanding to accept that it is okay, you can track my vehicle. Or else, I can track my vehicle myself, and then you tell me. Whenever you find it in the wrong, you come up with information and tell me, you know what, give us the information of where your vehicle was at this time. And then I'll provide it. Here is the logo, I was here, I was here, I was here, I was here. It's my right to give you that. It is your right to be given that information. You're just supposed to ask me, where were you at that time? But our fear is, how can we trust you with our information without any proper legal framework, without any limitation? So we are saying, come up with the proper limitations. Come up with a proper legal framework. Then let the different companies come up with the best policies, the best, company policies. Then they incorporate it in their company policies. Then let us continue with the vehicle tracking with proper legal framework, not these things of just coming up, he says something, then the next day as the minister is supposed to advise cabinet, like today morning, you don't advise them, you just say the next day you're on media center and giving information. We are going to start on this day, this is the company that has been put, up to when and how? That is what we are talking about. That is where our concern is.
Don't you think this is a matter of urgency that has drilled from 2018 till date, and yet it is, we believe, it is very effective in fighting criminality?
We don't mind the urgency. That is why it is that's why he can come up with a proper legal framework in a week. This vehicle tracking issue has been, has been done all over the world. You can go and benchmark. You can benchmark from very many policies, from the UK, from the United States, from Europe, from very many countries. Even those developed countries are not using vehicle tracking as part of the security measures. They are not. Why? Why should it be for Uganda? You understand? So, however much it is urgent, there should be a legal framework that governs it, a policy that governs this. You don't just wake up and say, we do this, and the next day you're jumping onto it. I mean, since they killed Katumba or Abiriga, what was the span to killing Katumba? What were they doing between that? You understand? Even today, if they have managed to apprehend, leave alone the fact that even the people that are killing the people are putting their number plates, you know, they alter the number plates, they camouflage, they do what? There are very many things. You should have a lot of background information to know them than only vehicle tracking.
Honorable, maybe when you look at how we believe vehicle tracking is, of course, you know, there are Ugandans that have car trackers already, have motorcycle trackers
Yes.
within, and these help in case a car has been stolen. Because for them, they put it, basically, they install them for that purpose. In case my motorcycle is stolen, in case my car is stolen, I can easily know where it is.
Yeah. Even beyond even being stolen, even for efficiency
Yes,
at work,
knowing
where
the car
vehicle is at what time.
And now government is looking at it this way, that in case murder or a crime has been committed, they can identify which particular vehicles were in that area. Either it is done at midnight, either it is done at 4 a.m., either it is done in broad daylight.
Exactly. We are not saying government should not do that, but come up with a proper legal framework that does not take, because they will say, what will happen will be, your vehicle will have been given to anyone, whatever, at 4 a.m., somebody is hit somewhere, then your number plate is put as one of those people that were in that area. What if you were not in that area? What if you were just passing? And after getting you, what are they going to do? Are they going to come, inspect the vehicle, take fingerprints, do what to identify who was in this vehicle, or they are going to just come, knock on your door, pick you, and put you in Chileka, and then start questioning you where you were? You understand? So that is what we want. We are saying you can track them. First and foremost, track this vehicle at my will, because it is my information. Track my vehicle at my will. After tracking it at my will, allow me to give you the limitations of how far you're supposed to track me. If it's a company vehicle, track me from 8 to 5. Beyond that, I'm in my personal, things, don't track me. Or give me assurance of the company that is going to track me, that my information will not land into wrong hands. We are politicians. We do very many things. You understand? Somebody is going to get this information and, flag it all over. So what we are saying is, however much it is urgent, come up with that proper framework that is going to govern this particular thing. Don't just come up and say it.
Let's look at the perspective of these things from Parliament. How do you want you to be involved for that you have these policies? How are things conducted? And really, wouldn't we see that Parliament, as a regulating, as a body that looks at laws, policies in this country, this wouldn't be something very hard for you to push through?
No, yeah, that is why we are saying, currently the Parliament is in a recess, and we are not sitting for the next. They say the vehicle is under, whatever, it is under fumigation, but we would sit anywhere else. But they are saying we can recess for 2 weeks for the COVID thing. We agree, because the COVID virus had taken over the premises. However, we are saying the minister was supposed to come up with a proper, document and a proposal, and then present it on the floor of Parliament. And then we would debate it, and then say, take out this, put in this, go and benchmark here. Then, or if it would be okay, then if it would not be okay, it would be pushed to the Security Committee, and then they refine it. They would put other rules, and other committees would look at it from their own perspective. Then we come back and agree on a particular framework. It doesn't take a lot of this is everything. This is something that everybody wants. We all want the thing, but we are saying we are dealing with the UPDF here. We are dealing with the security. We have seen how it does its work. Let them be guided. Otherwise, if they are not guided, they will surpass the law. You understand? They will misuse the vehicle tracking device information.
How has this worked elsewhere in terms of legal framework and policies? As members of Parliament, you benchmark. Do we have successful stories that we can say, yes, this has been used and this is what they have managed to come up with as policies to ensure fears that you have are really not actually turning into reality?
You could, specifically, you could benchmark from the UK. In the UK, your company is supposed to come up with a company policy, to incorporate it in their company policy. 2, if you're a public servant, you're tracked within working hours. Beyond working hours, it is your private work time. You're not going to, you understand? 3, you're supposed to consent to being tracked at any one time, you're supposed to consider and say, okay, it is okay for my vehicle to be tracked at all. Or else, whenever a crime has, been committed, you're liable to answer where you are, who are you with, what time, you understand? Now, very many things are, I cannot, tell you the whole legal framework that has been put up. I cannot tell you every single clause that has been put up. But they have made it clear. They know that this can be misused. That's why there is need for a proper legal framework. Even this, remember, it is also an economic thing. Vehicle tracking systems are, at an individual level are between 150 and 300,000. And then you're supposed to subscribe, yearly. So, is it money going to Uganda? Because these vehicle trackers can be done by the boys in Makerere here. We can produce them. We have people in IT that can produce these vehicle trackers, that can come up with that system. Why come up with a company in Russia? If there are 6 million cars, roughly, if we could say there are 6 or 5 million cars, and we are giving out, let's say, almost $50, to this company, that is almost $250 million being given to a global company, a company in Russia. Have Ugandans failed to come up with these vehicle trackers? Can't the money go to the consolidated fund, and the trackers are installed in Makerere?
But the same parliament where you are now, unfortunately,
there are things that we are
was
looking
the
at.
10th parliament when the ministry proposed to purchase radios for teaching. You doubted the companies that were locally based to just have these gadgets that have been around. And the parliament said we doubt the capacity of our companies when it comes to ensuring they carry out this. We've seen so many, look at Entebbe Express Highway, where you've said no, let's vet and actually you approve a foreign company.
Because they have procurement processes, as part of the procurement processes and the PPDA law, a lot is supposed to be repealed in that law. You understand?
Because it's very clear the amounts of money that go for local,
it is very clear that they do their things. Yeah,
yes.
The PPDA law is very wide. It gives a lot of room to anybody to misuse money anyhow. So there's a lot to be repealed in that law. That is a topic that we can handle another time. What we can do now, as Parliament, in this COVID pandemic, we know that the government is using a lot of money. We are losing a lot of money. We are borrowing. We have just borrowed $1 billion just to stabilize us. This is not the same time we are supposed to get money out of the economy. You understand? Because if you if you look at the borders and look at the people that have vehicles, you look at different people have ships, they have
water vessels.
Yes. If you look at all that number, and a vehicle tracking gadget is something very small. I mean, that Makerere can come up with in 1 week. You understand? Are we talking about production? Can we remain with the rights? Let's come up with a gadget, but come up with the rights to at least have half of the money remain here and then half can go elsewhere. At least that's how economic is it. It is not economical at all to give to give this contract to somebody in Russia, somebody we don't even know about, somebody that is just going to pick money and take it all. And when such things come up, like the elements and
of course, looking at some of the terms that the minister said, there's still a bit of agreements that are going to be seen through, but the little at least we are able to tip into show that there will be a bit of sharing the profits here and there. Then government seemingly may not be injecting in, but it's going to be the company that is coming. Then it will be recovering its money over a period of time. Then later, after the 10 years, Ugandans are going to be handling the entire exercise when it comes to this situation. But Honorable, going back to another element, away from these agreements and the technicalities involved in getting the company that is going to be running this, you talked about proper policies to govern this. And this reminds me, we had a similar debate when we were moving into SIM card registration. If you remember very well, members of parliament were up in arms, issues of privacy, issues of policies. How did we go over this that now we think we cannot go over a similar incident, though maybe this will be regarding vehicles?
At that time, the Minister for ICT presented a proper proposal presented proper paperwork. I think that then it was Mr. Tumwebaze that was there. They came up with proper, paperwork of what the role of the telecom companies is and what the role of the individual is. When you go for SIM card registration and everything, they give you a sheet where you fill in and acknowledge that you need your SIM card to be swapped, to be whatever. You understand? You come up, there's nowhere you go to get a SIM card and you just hand it over a SIM card. They give you rules and regulations to read through, and then you agree, and then take the SIM card. Proper legal framework was come up with. That what made the noise then is what we are making noise about now. And now, actually, it's not we, but it is Sebamala, particularly, that is, making this noise all over, saying that, no, please, let us do A, B, C, D. You understand? So if then we came up with proper, Parliament is going to be up next week. Let the minister come up with any type of paperwork. Let him present it. Let's discuss it. Let the Parliament become Parliament can become a committee. If something is urgent, let him present it. Let us debate it on there and then. Let us change this, change that, include this, leave that, proceed. But when we have limitations, we cannot allow the minister to just take up direction from the president and then hand them over to the people. Yet he properly knows that at that time, after the president has said it, he had to go to cabinet and attend. But Mr. President, if you are supposed to come up with these are the limitations. How do we go about them? Can I come up with this and then we do it in a month's time? That is what he was supposed to do. But because because of this favorism and, people are not advising the president. They're instead, misleading him. In this way, if the minister goes ahead with what he's doing, he knows he will be sued. He knows he will be sued for what he's doing, and then the government will lose a lot of money. It is a directive, true, but we are supposed to obey lawful recommendations. We are supposed to act on lawful recommendations. Not every recommendation that comes up with, even in Parliament, even if a committee came up with a particular recommendation that is not lawful, it will not be taken up by government.
You're from the Democratic Party, and usually when it comes to Parliament, we've seen so much. Even if it were to come to Parliament, the game of numbers outcompetes, and at a time we see most of this first. Even if it was to go by passing or voting after a number of debaters occurred, do you think this is something that you can convince a number of your colleagues in Parliament to tussle it out?
This is not a game of numbers. Actually, I've already told the people in Parliament, I've already told people, my fellow members of Parliament, that let us, differ on other issues, but let's agree on let us define parties. Let us define, you be yellow, the other one is red, I'm green, and what? That is okay. But let us agree on issues. We should know when to oppose and propose, but there are issues that NRM agrees with us. There are issues that we agree with them. The parish model per se. Have you seen us beat it? We can say it has its loopholes, but we are saying no, correct this, and let's continue. You understand? So this is the same thing. On this particular thing, not member of Parliament wants to be tracked 24/7. I'm telling you. No member of Parliament. This is an issue that affects every member of Parliament.
Don't you think you're just
actually, for us, let me give you an example. I tussled it out with the Vice President. And it was not simple. The army was all over. They were following you like a pin. Just a day before elections, almost my team of coordinators was arrested. You understand? Now, how is it some had managed to survive because they hid away? How is it if they knew which vehicles they were moving in and where they are going and what they are doing and where we have been? You understand? How do we protect ourselves from the fact that this information should not be given to our opponent? Because somebody will track you and then they will give the information, and then they say you go to police or you can, where will you start? Because there's no legal framework. You've gotten to know this person, got to know where I was at this time and managed to find me there, but then you don't have any legal framework in which to apprehend them. You understand? So we are saying it is not about the members of Parliament. It's not about the people. This is something that we are supposed to all come up and say, you know what? what Sebamala Richard is saying is right. And canvassing numbers with me is very simple. You know, Bukoto Central was entirely NRM, the 100 and something villages remaining. But we managed to canvass by convincing people that this is the right thing to do. And these people are not going to be very happy when they hear that Sebamala Richard agreed to the fact that we should pay 300,000 for vehicle tracking.
The figure we are not yet well conversant with. Some have put it at 20,000. Some reports indicate that.
That is,
per year.
Yes,
per year.
Yeah, but now how about buying the gadget and installing it? How much money is going to be, and who is going to install it? You understand? You know, all these, supposing it goes off, because we are, my people have potholes all over. All the roads in Bukoto Central, we don't even have a single tarmac road. That is the reason, you know, those are the reasons we are complaining. We don't even have a single tarmac road, not even a meter of tarmac road in Bukoto Central. What if it is disconnected along the way? You understand? Most of the vehicles, you know, are parked at the police station. People don't have garages. What if, you know, there's a water interference? Then what happens? Yeah, what happens? You get me and jail me? What happens? What happens? Because it will, the motorcycle will be taken for washing, and then somehow they jam the thing, and then you're on the road, and then they stop you and say your tracker is off. Then what? Do you arrest me? How do you handle me at that time? Do you tell me put it back? How do I account for the time that it has been off? You understand? So this is what we are talking about. And you know, we don't want the minister to take it in bad faith, because eventually it will be done. Eventually it will come up, it will be done. But we're only saying, don't do it, you know, bila mipango. Do it systematically and, you know, come up with proper, you know, legal framework. And then we shall agree with you.
Well, time is not so much on our side, but that is Honorable Sebamala Richard, who is MP Bukoto Central, and that is calling for more organization when it comes to how best we can have the digital trackers installed in vehicles, and of course the motorcycles, but other vessels that have been deemed fit to have them in a bid of fighting criminality in this country. This is one of the methods that we believe, if effectively followed, will be able to fight criminalities or make it next to impossible for someone to think of committing an offense similar to what we've seen during the murder of the sheikhs. Recently we saw attempted assassination on the life of General Katumba Wamala. This is a move that the president says it is in the right direction to fight this criminality. Well, let me have your final remarks regarding this, away from we should have a policy. Okay.
My final remarks on this is it is proper and right to apprehend murderers and any other, you know, culprits that have made this country become, you know, a den of thieves and what. It is very important that, you know, we come up with it is very important that everyone that has offended anybody is apprehended by law. However, my final remarks to every minister that, you know, is out there, the new cabinet, is let's not, you know, catch up in fire whenever the president says anything. The only reason the president has put it there is because he believes you're the right team that will advise him on the right policies, that will advise him on the right things to do, that will end the corruption, the embezzlement, and everything, that will give him the proper insight. Just stand up to yourselves when you're in cabinet and say the right things. Steer this country to the right direction and make us believe in you. In this particular incident, if the president comes up with something and then you take it up like it is a hot potato, you're losing, you know, trust. You know, people are losing trust in you. So please, let's go back to the proper way things should be done. And for now, if you need the vehicle tracking, it is okay, but come up with a proper legal framework and bring it to Parliament. Let's debate it. Let's go ahead and implement.
Well, so much is yet to be known and so much is still unfolding, but when it comes to the role of Parliament in ensuring we have the right laws, we have the right policies, we are waiting to see if this will take course, because, you know, they have the power to summon, if need be, to call upon a particular minister to come and give more details. Recently, we saw the Health Committee doing that, and Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng was there, the National Medical stores were there, and they gave information over what is needed. So we hope we shall have more regarding this. And of course, we call upon Ugandans, let's work together to fight criminality and support government efforts aimed at ensuring we eliminate all the gaps that the criminals are taking advantage of. I'll leave you with Ruben to take you to the world of sports, and thereafter, Jagan will be here with Good Morning Uganda Extra.